Rupani Foundation has been promoting really pre-marriage counseling, not even pre-conceiving, pre-marriage counseling, which was there before. It is really to have a clear understanding of role and responsibility as future parents, right? You start talking before basically getting married. Mahtab, I think one thing that also I would like to address is the key that in Texas I'm seeing so many teenage pregnancy, and mothers are delivering the child, but this mother knows that what the child needs are, because those are the major concerns that needs to be addressed, right? As I have three daughters and now I have grandchildren, so I've seen it firsthand in my home itself, that giving delivery of a child is not easy. Mothers goes through a very, very, very painful delivery, and then after delivery, mother goes through so many internal, external issues that it is beyond imagination, I think. And also, I think it's very important during that pain and suffering, mother has to know what the child needs. My daughter Amy had gone through basically having a doula, and now the doula was also very, very helpful, right? So those kind of support in the community, I think, we have to provide those pregnant mothers, and also I think doula service should be extended because there are a lot of single mothers who doesn't know and understands the role and responsibility of very early the child. If you're going to put a child, a 3 weeks and 4 week child in a daycare and go to work, you are just missing out what is the child needs. Child needs the mother's security, and mother's voice, and basically this brings another important point that I really like to address. There was a research done that why the poor children basically stays poor and rich are getting richer. What is the basically main issue? And they come up with was that the language nutrition. The language nutrition was the key. That the low-income families who cannot afford to take care of the child when mother goes to work. So mothers leave the child at 7 o'clock in the morning. She comes back from work at 5, 6 o'clock, picks up the child. The only thing she does is feed the child, put to sleep. Next morning she goes and drops the child again. So there is no communication between the mother and child. So every word spoke between mother and child is a child's vocabulary. Yeah. Right? So if there is no communication, then the challenge, right? So my daughter would start showing books with black and white, and within a week. So there is a communication. I can see it. It has an impact. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen my grandchildren. So it's an impact that we need to understand, and our every mothers should understand the role and responsibility before conceiving. Yeah. And if you planning, right? And planning. And it's very important, planning and budgeting. Budgeting is the key today. If you are not able to budget your child, you lost it, because right now having a child is very, very expensive, very critical. And basically, I mean, they don't need a fancy toys, but at least they need mother's time. Yes. The mother's time. And the bond, the connection. You know, I love that when we were talking about community earlier, a lot of faith-centered organizations are introducing story time. Yeah. Because a lot of these families, they're here living in an apartment, but the grandparents, the extended family unit is in another country. So that leaves a gap. So going back to that community kind of concept, where it doesn't cost a lot of money, actually, the first 3 years of life to optimize a child's mental health,
their IQ, their potential, their language acquisition, their social, emotional development. It's the level of engagement, the people they're exposed to, and those folks knowing age appropriate, like you mentioned with Annie buying the black and white. There's a certain part of baby development where they can't see color, for example. So knowing to show your baby the right book where everything is highly, in contrast, that brain gets excited. So then it's more likely to engage. There's a lot of research on contact, like you said, with bonding and, Ainsworth, like the how attachment forms. My cousin is also a young dad. He has only girls, and he has this bedtime ritual where he teaches his daughters self-love, for example. And so that, fast forward 20 years, my niece is going to be less likely to attract a partner who might, be domestic violence issues, the confidence, the level of, like how I value my body, myself, and what difference that makes when you navigate through life, when you are deprived versus having your cup full, and that translates to literacy, to learning, to how you initiate relationships.
So this is all boils down to that to really protect our children, we need to protect our mothers, provide support, provide guidance, and provide a holding hand and proper guidance. And basically, this is what Rupani Foundation has been doing for decades. We host prenatal seminars and conferences, and we educate the mothers who are pregnant and provide them education, understanding, support, the resources, and we hold their hands and provide them, I would say, the navigation and shepherding during the entire period. So this way, we can support them, monitor them, and provide all the support they need until the child is delivered. So basically, those are the things I think very important to have.
We're here for our community. We have so much resource, so much knowledge amongst us, and we'll come to you to deliver these things. Going back to that, in, like you mentioned, the doula thing, in countries like in the Eastern cultures, when a woman first has a baby, like their first time, very anxiety provoking, right? So you have aunties, family members, one mother literally moves in for the first several months until that new couple gets the hang of it, whereas here everybody's like out for themselves. So even promoting the doula model, it artificially plants that idea of, oh, if I don't know what to do, here's this person to go to. Because the other structure is, oh, I can't go there. My insurance won't pay for it. Well, there's not really something wrong with me. It's in every mom. They always normalize pain, anxiety, distress with, oh, that's normal. No, you're thinking crazy thoughts, that's normal. Well, it's only normal up to a certain extent, but beyond that, you might have a ton of questions. I myself, I studied psychology for 10 years of my life. When I was about to have my daughter, I was petrified of how is this thing going to come out? And then when they're out, what do I do? So I was going to therapy the entire duration of my pregnancy and then another 4 months just to kind of embrace the idea of this huge change that was going to impact my life.
Like while we are discussing, more and more thoughts are now that we need to address. Like even I'm seeing that now our children are struggling, and in a sense there is so much disinformation is on, I would say, in their hands, right? I think like my one daughter says, "Hey, I'm not going to have any vaccination for my child." And I don't know if she's protecting or not protecting the child, right? I think, how do you know she is really thinking right? So there's no, I think it's very hard to find the correct information and disinformation that we have in our hands, and basically it has become a challenge for our children because in this whole disinformation or misinformation, if this child is not protecting their own child, what happens? This mistake is done. You can't correct that mistake, right? Once you miss that period. So it's just that we have, our children's, I think, need to be protected, and it starts with mother's protection. When we give a mother a protection, we need to have, I would say, paternal and maternal, I would say, period time. In certain countries, we have both maternal and paternal holidays for the child to be protected and given a security, right? And I think we're going to really run into another challenge very, very soon. Is a lot of mothers are now leaving their profession because they care about motherhood. Because right now they can go to work and take care of basically their children's, and that will be another big damage to our system, right? Workforce challenge that we going to face. So I am proposing really that every workplace where we have more mothers, we should provide at work child care. Because the corporate must provide childcare at the workplace. So this way the mother has, while working, she is also access to the child. Yeah. Right? Basically, otherwise, more and more mothers that has, was it conscious mothers who are care about their children will go out of workforce because they feel, and then they can't come back to workforce again because after right, so the whole cycle breaks. So basically, there is no, a proper process where, like working on a lot of doctors who were practicing doctor, now they go to motherhood, but they can't come back to their profession again, right? So there is again, we lost all the doctors who are sitting home right now. Who had
those investments,
right? It was our investment for decades, right? To do that doctor, and now this doctor can't come back in the same profession because now she went for a motherhood, right? So I'm seeing a lot of mothers who are conscious about and they care about their children. We might lose their profession. Their I would say practices, and that can be another challenge that we must address. And basically, so this is all boils down to that to really protect our children, we need to protect our mothers, provide support, provide guidance, and provide a holding hand and proper guidance. And basically, this is what Rupani Foundation has been doing for decades. We host prenatal seminars and conferences, and we educate the mothers who are pregnant and provide them education, understanding, support, the resources, and we hold their hands and provide them, I would say, the navigation and shepherding during the entire period. So this way we can support them, monitor them, and provide all the support they need until the child is delivered.
Chairman, thank you so much for really highlighting the holistic approach to this great initiative around maternal mental health. I think this is a really great first step in a lot of fruitful conversations to come. So I want to reach out to our subscribers and followers to stay tuned to future episodes where we can discuss from pregnancy to first steps, how mom's mental health shapes the developing brain, what you can do, like simple steps in taking, classes with Rupani Foundation and introducing different concepts for practical ways we can enhance the growing and developing families in the greater Houston area.